Hello, Internet, and welcome to my review for the premiere episode of the new anime Angels of Death. In this week's episode, we were introduced to Rachel, who is a mysterious girl who seems to should be dead, who, after an encounter with some kind of counselor, woke up at the seventh basement level of some facility-looking thing, and went up a couple floors and encountered some people who really don't want her to survive, including Scythe-wielding Mummy Man and a crazy doctor who wants her eyes. The Scythe Man killed the doctor, and now the Scythe Man is up to be killed by whoever's running this whole facility. And that was really... And then Rachel, who has awoken some kind of memories of her past, realizes that she wants to die. And that's where we left off. That's where this episode ended. So let's get right into the nitty-gritty of my thoughts and review of the episode as a whole. So the second when Rachel wakes up in the facility after the little prologue bit, she opens up in the hallway and we see row after row of security cameras, and I think that's a really good way to show the maliciousness of this place. She is she is constantly being watched no matter what she does. And I feel like the cameras are a good way to show that simply, without really having to beat us over the head with it. They don't really Rachel never thinks to herself, "Oh, I'm being watched," but it's really clear that she is just from constant showing of the security cameras. So I'm kind of curious why Basement 6 was described as the play area, because I would expect a playground that is kind of twisted in some way, based on the fact this is a horror anime. But instead it just looked like a rundown alley, which is a kind of weird looking thing. I'm not entirely sure why it's described as a play area. Maybe it's because of Mr. Mummy Man's playing around throughout the alleys. Speaking of Mr. Mummy, the Mummy guy, I can see him being a little too over the top and more grating as the series goes on. He didn't really come across as too grating this week, but I can definitely see that becoming a theme as we go on. That being said, that moment where he's chasing after Rachel was so tense. I was edge of my seat, as he's slamming his scythe down into the different boxes and barely missing her by a fraction of an inch. Oh, it was tense. And then he's like, "Oh, I didn't get her. Guess she's not in that one." And I sigh. I a sigh of relief. Though I do feel people might complain "Oh, why doesn't he just open the box instead of stabbing into it?" Honestly, given by what we see of the Scythe guy, I think he's just ridiculous enough that he's just overdramatic enough that he'd just stab it and then decide if anyone was in there based on the stabbing. That seemed like it's in character for what we've seen from so far. Moving on, after Rachel runs away from him, I'm kind of curious what exactly is going on in her mind that makes her want to stop everything and fix the bird. Because she sees the dead bird and she thinks it's the bird that the Scythe guy killed when he first showed up. But when she realizes it's not, she has to change it. And I feel like that should end up being relevant as the series goes on. And I really want to find out what exactly is going on in her head that makes her want to think that. I do like all the ways that the episode hints at Danny's true. So after this, actually, go from there first. The Scythe guy goes after her again, and she barely escapes back up. And she barely escapes going up to the fifth basement, where she meets Danny, who is supposedly, maybe not, the counselor who was with her in the prologue. I do like all the ways they kind of build up his suspicion before they're straight up yeah, he's a psychopath. He's just super casual about the blood smear on Rachel's cheek that she got on the sixth basement, I should say. He's real she tries to ask questions how do we get out of here, and he's "Oh, don't worry about it." It's kind of creepy. His super odd comments about his eyes are really where it starts to be clear that this guy is clearly malicious, and not just ways it's being built up by music and editing. But I feel like it does take Rachel just a little bit too long to not trust Danny. Like, as soon as Danny sends her out into the back room and she sees, like, the room full of eyes, it should have been even before that. It should have been like, okay, this guy's kind of creepy. You know, there's the bit where, like, they run into the glass wall and Rachel asks how we're gonna get out of here, and Danny's like, oh, we don't need to get out of here, which is weird. And that should have been, like, her like, blaring red flag. But I do get that she's, like, kind of emotionally stunted, I guess. Just given by whatever trauma happened to her before the series, I imagine it's kind of making her a little bit too trusting, I guess. I'll have to wait and see. There was one question. So when Danny stops Rachel from reading whatever that is on the wall, could anyone tell what that said? It didn't look like it was in English. So I was really curious what Danny was trying to hide from her, if that has some secret to what's going on in this facility, who is behind all of this, who is on the intercom announcing sacrifices, what they're being sacrificed for. That might be hinted at in that little writing. If anyone can tell me what language that is and what it says in English, that would be super nice, but I don't know. But yeah, what's next? Oh, so once Danny's true colors are fully revealed, he is so wonderfully creepy. Like, I really, really love evil Danny. And like a kind of, you know, B-movie horror kind of way. You know, he's like evil cackling. He has that weird, like, tongue thing where, like, it fully, like, goes super long and starts out over here and, like, drips down to the bottom of his face. It's super creepy. The two irises are creepy. He has two irises in one of his eyes. Even if it doesn't quite make any sense why he has two irises in that eye. It's just kind of weird. But it's weird, but it makes him makes him really creepy. Like, fucking disgusting when he starts ranting about, like, oh, how much he wants their eyes and all that. It's weird, but it's like disgusting. Like, it's a way that, like, this is a fun villain. And then Scythe Boy shows up to, like, rescue her, or at the very least to kill Danny for some reason. His motivations for doing that, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he just desperately wants to kill Rachel. Maybe there's some bit of goodness in Scythe Boy. I'm not entirely sure what to make of that. But then Scythe Boy becomes a sacrifice. Because, like, the intercom lady shows up and is like, oh, because a member of the basement 6th floor killed a member of the 5th basement, the 6th basement guy is now a sacrifice because that breaks the rules. So now I'm kind of curious if Rachel is still a sacrifice and they just have two sacrifices now, or if Scythe Boy has become a sacrifice instead of Rachel. I'm really curious to see what happens with that. And then, of course, at the end, Rachel has had her memories awoken by Danny's taunting, as I recall correctly. You know, how her parents are in hell. And I really want to know, for one thing, that kind of builds up questions about what this place is. Given that Rachel says that she should have died back in however her parents died, I got the impression. Which makes me wonder, like, is this purgatory? Did she die in whatever killed her parents? I have a vague impression it might be like a car crash. That'd be a little bit boring, but, like, you know, whatever. And is she, like, in purgatory? I really want to know how she got here and what led her to want her to die so fast. My thoughts on the opening, I don't really have any thoughts on the opening. The ending of the episode that will probably be the opening for the rest of the season. It's an alright opening, probably have more thoughts on it as it goes on. Given by the next episode title, which is, as I recall, Your Grave Is Not Here, it makes it seem like Scythe Boy is not going to want to kill Rachel, because at the end Rachel asks for Scythe Boy to kill her. And if he says your grave is not here, it makes it seem like she's probably going to survive a little while. Which is, I mean, clearly, but, like, because of Scythe Boy joining up with her. Given by, like, what we see in the key visual of Rachel and Scythe Boy standing together with a bunch of people behind them, it makes it seem like they're definitely, like, the two leads who are, like, the heroes of this story. And I'm really curious to see what exactly Scythe Boy's deal is, what exactly Rachel's deal is. But for the moment, I'm mainly left with questions, and not enough answers to really have full thoughts about my questions. But I'm still really excited to hopefully get these questions answered over the next 3 months the show is airing. I've heard it's like a 16-episode series, which is really weird. But I'm down for it. I'm down for 16 episodes. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. It's not like the greatest premiere I've ever seen, but I enjoyed it for what it's worth. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next, and I hope y'all are too. Hope you all enjoyed the episode and the video. If you do, feel free to drop me a like, subscribe, whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye.